Good morning. Call this 6/2024 the Elyria Planning to order. Roll call vote, Tom Aden, Sam Battle,
Present.
Barry Hubbard, Jim Underko,
Here.
Chris Pinowski, I'm here. Mayor Brubaker is out today. Mr. Tedrow? All right, we have minutes from the meeting, July 2nd, 2024. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Miscellaneous correspondence, we have none. New business, we have none. Old business, we have none. And we have public hearings today, the first one being on case number -100116. This is property at 152 Pinewood Drive in Elyria. Request to rezone a property located at 218 Prospect Street in Elyria from business neighborhood to light industrial for proposed storage buildings. All right, so reports from city department heads.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. The proponent is requesting 218 Prospect, a vacant lot, parcel number 062501610550, be rezoned from a business neighborhood district to a light industrial district to accommodate a proposed warehouse and storage facility. The request also includes 3 separate variances regarding the proposed location of the structure if rezoned to light industrial. My memo will cover all requests. I've listed for the board's use on my memo the zoning requirements for a business neighborhood district in regards to its permitted uses and some other requirements. I've also listed for the board's use the requirements for light industrial, as in bold does permit a lock and store warehouse. Staff findings continued. I'm going to jump to the variance requests, as the front yard setback of the structure, proposed structure, is indicated at 10 feet as measured from the front property line of Prospect to the closest portion of the structure. A variance is needed from section 116406, as a minimum 20-foot setback is required per the light industrial regulations. Number 2, the structure's side yard setback is indicated at 5'1", as measured from the south property line to the structure. A variance is needed from section 116407, as a minimum 50-foot setback must be maintained due to the site abutting a residential district to the east. Number 3, the structure's rear yard setback is indicated at 10'1", as measured from the east rear property line to the structure. A variance is needed from Elyria Codified Ordinance 116408, as a minimum 50-foot setback must be maintained due to the site abutting a residential district to the east. Staff recommendations. The location in question abuts an existing light industrial district, with the exception of 3 properties to the east of the site, which are currently zoned residential to household. Based on the location of the site in a predominantly industrial district, I am in favor of the request. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Scott from Community Development Design Review, do you have anything?
No additional comment.
Thank you. Fire Marshal Gall from the Fire Department, do you have anything on this particular application?
Through you, Chair, Fire Department has no comment.
Okay, and Mr. Schneider, City Engineer, do you have any input on this particular application?
In regards to the zoning request, engineering has no comment, but I would also let the panel know that, in case you didn't know, the Prospect Street was vacated back in 2018, so that is no longer a public road.
Okay. Does that change, Mr. Farkas, were you aware of that? Does that change our concern or consideration of this application in any way? Because when I looked at the aerial, my question was access, and so you and I talked about that before this. And
Mr. Chair, through you, I don't know, John, if I may, is there access to this through that vacated street? Who owns that, do you know?
Bridge Tool owns the driveway. It's not a street, it's a driveway. I don't know if they have provided access or not. I do know that the property owner who originally owned that property did sign off on the plat as, the vacation plat as well, and they did, they basically owned the property east of there all the way up to Winkle Street as well.
Okay, and then I guess it would kick into my mindset of a landlocked parcel. But if I'm not mistaken, the applicant may own the business to the east that abuts his property, which could provide access?
Oh, just a second. Hold on just a second. That's fine. We can bring him up to address that issue and any other issues that might exist. So I'll just call for proponents. We good? All right. Are there any proponents for this application? That'd be you, Mr. Smink, I believe. If you want to come up to the podium, please. But do you see this, this young lady here?
Yes.
She's a court reporter, so she's typing up everything that we're talking about. So she usually only types up the stuff that the people at the podium are saying so that we can have a good transcript.
I've had a legal service give me access to the back property there when the construction was going on.
Can you provide your name and address for the record, please?
Okay. My name is Gregory James Snink, and I live at 152 Pinewood Drive, and the property is located at 215 Winkles, adjacent to Prospect.
Okay, what do you mean by you've had a legal service give you access to that? What does that mean?
When they were doing the remodel there, they were cutting off access to our back parking lot. We hired a lawyer to give us a legal right to use that street that they put in there, the new driveway for Ridge Tool.
So did Ridge Tool give you an easement to use that?
Yes, I guess
former
that's the
street?
correct term. I got easement for it.
Okay. Do you happen to have any documentation to that effect with you today?
Not with me.
Okay. Mr. Craig, would that be something we'd want to verify before we move forward with this? Is that necessary or not?
If he's here today testifying about it, we could rely on this testimony.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
All right. Are there any questions from the panel for Mr. Spink? Nothing?
Okay.
All right. Any other information that you want to provide to us?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other proponents? Mr. Oswald?
Thank you, Kenny Oswald, 237 Pepperdine Drive. I have viewed the property, and it does make a good sense to put a building in there where there's nothing. They do have a nice access to get in and out for what he's planning on doing, so I think it'd be a nice make for the area, so I'm all in favor of having this thing approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other proponents? Any other proponents? Any other proponents? All right, any opponents? Any opponents? Any opponents? Public hearing has been held. Do we move on to the next one, or do we want to vote on these at the same time, or what would your suggestion be, Mr. Craig? Because they're related to the same property. Do we have to do one first before we move on to the second?
We vote on them at the same time.
Okay. All right, so moving forward to case number 2024-100120, a request for variances from sections 1164.06, 1164.07, and 1164.08 of the Leary Codified Ordinances for the setbacks of the proposed storage buildings. Mr. Farkas, do you have anything additional to add related to this?
Mr. Chair, no, sir.
Okay. Ms. Scott, do you have anything additional to add concerning this? All right. And Fire Marshal Gall, do you have anything additional to add to this?
No additional comments.
Okay. And Mr. Schneider, do you have anything additional?
Engineering has no additional comments.
Okay. And so, do I need to do the proponents again on this? All right. All right, any proponents as to it relates to this particular application? Any proponents? Any proponents? Any opponents to this application? Any opponents? Any opponents? All right. Public hearing is concluded and is considered held. And so We have both items before us. And do we need to vote separately, or can we vote in one?
You should vote on them separately.
Okay. All right, so as it relates to application 2024-100116, I would entertain a motion from the panel.
So moved.
All right. All those in favor of approving
Eric Tedrow, so moved.
Mr. Underko? All right, all those in favor of approving indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, as to application 2024-100120, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, you're all set, Mr. Smink. All right, moving on to public hearing for application case number 2024-100117, Elyria Block Development LLC, 417 Broad Street, Elyria, Ohio. Request a variance from section 115803 of the Elyria Codified Ordinances for the dumpster location setbacks. Ms. Scott from Community Development and Design Review, what input might you have on this?
Through you, design review is not applicable with this specific request. I will note that the dumpster did comply with the design review guidelines otherwise.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Farkas from the Building Department?
Mr. Chair, through you, the proposed business, or the purpose of this site is a business downtown district which encourages the functional grouping of commercial, residential, accessory establishments. The applicant has submitted a proposed dumpster location. It is located approximately 1 foot from the property line of Kurtstetter Way, when our codified ordinance requires 6 feet be maintained. I've listed for the board's use the permitted accessory uses and the requirements for such. My recommendations, I would not be opposed to the request contingent the dumpster location and enclosure do not create a line-of-sight concern from the public entering and exiting the site. I will note this, based on the site plan submitted, the flow of traffic appears to go from west to east. There should be no traffic coming out onto Kurtstetter Way, but you never know. Thank you.
And it's on Kurtstetter Way that the dumpster would be, so that would, so the ability to obstruct or the possibility of obstruction should be minimal or none. Very good, thank you. All right, Fire Marshal Gall, do you have anything to add?
Ohio Fire Code requires dumpsters to be 5 feet or more from a combustible building.
Okay. And Engineer Schneider?
No comments from engineering.
Okay, do we have any proponents for this application? State your name and address for the record, please, sir.
I'm Brian Eaton with Osborne Engineering, 1111 Superior Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio. I'm representing Elyria Block Development. I think that allowing the 0 setback or the 1 foot setback to the dumpster enclosure and the generator enclosure allows for maximizing of the parking, and it still fits within the existing building is 0 lot line as well.
Okay, and you agree with Mr. Farkas's conclusion that because of the flow of traffic through the parking lot, well, maybe Mr. Farkas has something. Give me just a second, please, Mr. Farkas.
Mr. Chair, through you, thank you. I incorrectly gave you the compass bearing. It is actually the flow east to west, which will pull the traffic towards the dumpster, creating a line of sight potentiality for concern, so I apologize.
And that would be traffic leaving the parking lot, entering Kurtstetter Way?
Entering the Kurtstetter Way, turning
Okay.
left or right, yes.
All right. Is there any way that the dumpster would fit on the other side so that's not an issue? Or, I mean, because you wouldn't have people turning out onto, I presume, Washington Ave? Or is this location on this side of the parking lot necessary for a reason?
The location's set based on the ability for the dump truck to get to the location, so the parking would have to be reworked slightly. I'm not sure if it would work going the other direction. I think if you were doing that, you would have to flip the entire parking lot and have the same issue that you're saying.
Okay. We recognize that it's just a sightline issue is what we're concerned with, right? Okay. And you guys can address that and make sure it's set back a foot?
Correct.
All right, very good. Anything else for us on this?
No.
All right, very good, thank you. Any other proponents? Any other proponents? Any other proponents? Are there any opponents? Any opponents? Any opponents? All right, this public hearing has been concluded. As to application 2024-100117, I would entertain a motion to approve from the panel.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right. All right, pardon my delay there. I just wanted to make sure we followed the proper procedure on this next batch of things to be considered because they're different, they're not public hearings. So, Planning Commission cases, we have case number 2024-100117, Elyria Block Development LLC, 417 Broad Street, Elyria, Ohio. Request a waiver of the design review guidelines for the lighting on the building. Community Development Design Review, Ms. Scott.
Thank you, through you. The applicant submitted a proposal for exterior improvements for the site. All of the proposed improvements did comply with the guidelines, with the exception of the lighting. Downtown guidelines prohibit site lighting. The site lighting can only shield down. What is being proposed is uplighting. So the applicant is requesting a waiver of the guidelines to allow for uplighting on the structure. Approval of this waiver is recommended.
Thank you. Building Department official, Mr. Farkas.
Mr. Chair, no zoning concerns.
Okay. And Fire Marshal Gall, do you have anything to add to this?
No comments, Fire Prevention Bureau.
Okay. And Mr. Schneider from Engineering?
Engineering has no comments.
Okay. Do we have any comments from, or do we have any questions from the panel? Sir, from Elyria Block, if you could come up.
Brian Eaton, Osborne Engineering, 1111 Superior Avenue. Brian Eaton?
Just out of curiosity, the lighting, is there a reason, it was picked, why not just comply with the, requirement? Is there providing something special to have the lighting that way, or?
The building's a historic structure, and we thought that it would be best to highlight those features of the building.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the panel? All right, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
All right, so the motion to approve is made.
Second.
All right, second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Thank you. All right, case number 2024-100119, Clark and Post Architects, 6125 South Broadway, Lorraine, Ohio, 44053 for 308 2nd Street, Elyria, Ohio, 44035. Request a waiver of the design review guidelines for the height of the flagpole at the new Gold Star Families Memorial, 30 foot in lieu of the 25 foot noted in the design review guidelines. Mr. Coco, are you here on behalf of that?
Ron Coco, Clark and Post Architects, 6125 South Broadway in Lorraine. The request is to allow for the placement of a 30-foot flagpole at the new Gold Star Family Memorials Monument that's going to be located on the south lawn area of the historic courthouse site. And reason being is there's already existing 30-foot U.S. flagpoles at the police, fire, and EMS memorial, as well as in the north end of the courthouse at the World War II memorial. So we just want to be consistent with the rest of the site. There are multiple 30-foot high U.S. poles around public properties and around the square, so we think it's consistent with what's already exists.
All right, thank you. Ms. Scott, do you have anything on this particular application?
The monument and the signage comply with the guidelines. However, as noted, the flagpole technically cannot exceed 25 feet in height. Approval of this waiver is recommended.
Thank you. Mr. Farkas, do you have anything?
No concerns, no zoning.
Thank you. Fire Marshal Gall?
No concerns from the Bureau.
All right, Mr. Schneider?
Engineering has no comments.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions from the panel members? All right, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve. So moved. All right. Second. All right, a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, moving to number 9 on our agenda, we have a summary reports of design review applications that have been approved by the design review staff, which we will accept and file. Good. All right, and number 10, staff and commission reports. Do we have any reports that need to be provided? All right, nobody wants to talk today, that's fine. I appreciate everybody with your patience today. It's my first one of these meetings with the mayor being out, so thank you. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn, please, seeing no other business.
So moved. Second.
All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right, we are hereby adjourned. Next meeting will be September 3rd, 2024. Same spot, same time. Thank you.
Chris, you did.